Welcome back to Happily Home Cooking. You're just in time for pizza night. Today we're showing you 2 ways to make amazing pizza in your home oven, including how to make a beautiful airy pizza crust from scratch, a perfectly simple 3-ingredient sauce, and all of our tips and tricks for getting the best pizza out of your home oven. You'll be amazed at how much of a difference some tiny adjustments can make, and just how good your homemade pizza game can be. So come on into the kitchen, drop this video a like if you're a homemade pizza fan, and make sure to subscribe for more amazingly approachable homemade recipes like this. All right, let's get cooking. So we're starting out with the literal foundation to any great pizza, a great crust. We've been making our own pizza dough for years and have found several nuances in the process that help deliver a professional pizza crust. So to start with, we'll need 2 cups of warm water. And you really want the water to be warm and not hot, or it will kill your yeast. Just watch your water as you're warming it, and at the first wisp of steam, it's ready. In our stand mixer bowl, we'll combine our water with about a tablespoon of sugar. The sugar not only gives a well-rounded flavor to our crust, but also gives the yeast something to feed on, which helps the fermentation process and again results in more flavor. Once the sugar is dissolved, we'll add in about 1.5 teaspoons of yeast and give it all a good whisk to dissolve. Then just let it rest a few minutes to activate the yeast. You should see some bubbling and foaming after a few minutes to let you know that the yeast is alive and working. Now we'll add some flour. Either all-purpose flour or bread flour work fine. We're using all-purpose today. We'll add in about 5 cups of flour and turn our mixer on low to start bringing our dough together. And we'll just let it go for several minutes. You could also make your dough without a stand mixer and just knead it by hand if you prefer. It just takes a bit more muscle. This is a high hydration dough, so it will be a bit wet, and we still want the dough to be sticky, but not so much that it stays stuck to your fingers. So you can see that this is still a bit too sticky, so we'll just add a bit more flour. All right, and now the last thing we'll add is 2 teaspoons of sea salt. Waiting until the end to add the salt actually allows the flour to fully hydrate before the salt begins to tighten the gluten, which helps improve both the texture and the flavor of the crust. You can tell the dough has the proper amount of flour now and has been kneaded enough because it's pulling away from the sides of the bowl, but it's still sticking to the bottom. That's exactly what we're looking for. And when we do the finger test, it sticks enough to stretch, but then it releases from the finger. So now we're going to let our dough rise in a large bowl, which we'll coat with a bit of olive oil. But we're not just going to plop it in there. We're going to coat it in the oil to make it easier to handle. And then we're going to form it into a nice ball. This helps build the gluten structure, and it'll help it rise evenly, which will ultimately help create a light, airy, and structured crust rather than just a flat piece of cardboard. Now cover it with a lid or plastic wrap and leave it on the counter to rise. There's no set time for exactly how long, but we like to leave it out to rise pretty much all day, or at least several hours. If you're not making the pizza the same day, just pop it in the fridge for the night. So with our dough rising to the occasion, let's whip up our pizza sauce. The biggest key to a good tomato sauce is using good Italian San Marzano tomatoes. These are widely available, and yes, they are a bit more expensive than just regular canned tomato sauce, but it is 1000% worth it. This particular variety we're using today happens to already have basil in it, but just plain tomato will work fine too. So we're just going to combine our can of San Marzano tomatoes with a can of tomato paste. Now you can of course make the sauce without the tomato paste, however I think it adds a really nice richness and depth of flavor to the sauce, plus it helps to thicken it a bit as well. And then the only thing we're going to season this with is just a couple pinches of sea salt. And we use a whisk to mix it all together and break apart those whole tomatoes. That's it. No muss, no fuss. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the perfect pizzeria tomato sauce. Next, we'll prep our cheese. Of course, mozzarella is the classic cheese for pizza, and we like a part skim mozzarella. I find shredding mozzarella maddening, so we're just going to cube it. Don't worry, it's gonna melt, it's gonna spread, it's gonna be great. And we often like to use a specialty cheese to complement the mozzarella too, so shred up or cut up whatever you like or have on hand. Okay, so it is the next day and it's time to give our pizza dough a second rise. So this is the time to divide your dough into however many pizzas you are making. We're doing 2 large pizzas, so we'll just divide our dough in half. And we're going to repeat the process we did yesterday, forming each dough portion into a ball. As we do this, we're stretching the surface to create a tight outer skin, which will make our dough easier to stretch into a nice circle and also give us an even, airy rise when our pizza bakes. And we are doing this a few hours before we're going to make our pizzas so that our dough will have plenty of time to come fully to room temperature and get another nice rise. Now, even with a great dough recipe, part of the problem with making good pizza in a home oven is the fact that they just don't get nearly as hot as a pizza oven. But don't worry, we have a few tricks to help you get the most out of your kitchen appliance. About an hour before we bake our pizzas, we'll get our oven preheating. If you're using a pizza stone, pop that in first, and then turn your oven on to the highest setting. Our oven goes up to 550 degrees, but tip number 1 to maximize your oven is to let it preheat longer than just the oven simply reaching the temperature, because we really want that pizza stone to absorb the heat and get as hot as possible. So that's why we're preheating a good hour in advance. Once that oven has had the time to get as hot as humanly possible, or ovenly possible, we're going to assemble our pizzas, beginning with shaping our dough. To ensure our dough doesn't stick to our surface we're working on, we like to flour our work surface with a blend of all-purpose flour and semolina flour. The semolina flour has a slightly coarser texture than all-purpose, so it works great to prevent our dough from sticking, much like cornmeal would, but with a better, softer texture that we prefer. So you can see how much our dough has risen yet again, and we want to keep all those beautiful air bubbles that have formed. So put away that rolling pin. We're going to stretch this by hand, but don't worry, there's no fancy pizza tossing involved. So step 1, we're going to gently get our pizza dough out of the bowl. And we want that side that was on top during the rise to stay on top when we make our pizza, because that's where all the beautiful air pockets are, and we want to retain as much of that as possible. So after dumping it out of the bowl, we'll flip it back over so top side's up. Then we'll gently press it with our fingertips, moving from the center out. So as we're stretching the dough, we're not collapsing those air pockets, we're simply working them toward the outer edge. And then to stretch it out a bit more, you can give it a few turns on your knuckles if you like. And that's it, our beautiful pizza dough is ready to be topped. Now that we're in the home stretch of assembling our pizza, it's time for tip number 2 for maximizing your oven. We're going to really ramp up the heat by switching it to broil for about 10 minutes before we bake our pizza. And we'll show you in just a minute how much extra heat that's going to give us. Okay, back to our pizza pie. We're ready to add our sauce that we made, and our best advice here is less is more. You should still be able to see your crust under your sauce. And trust me, this will be plenty. Just spread it around. Then of course we'll add our mozzarella cheese, and again, less is more. There's no need to cover the entire surface in cheese. Like I mentioned before, we often also like to add another kind of cheese along with our mozzarella to give a more complex flavor. So today we're adding some Gouda cheese we had on hand to this pizza. And we'll also add some fresh basil leaves too. And for the final touch, a drizzle of olive oil. Okay, so you can see that after having our oven on broil, our pizza stone is actually up over 600 degrees. So we got an extra 50 plus degrees out of our oven by doing that. So now that we're ready to bake our pizza, we'll set the oven back to bake at that highest temperature. And here's tip number 3 for maximizing your oven. If you have a convection oven, you can use that setting. While it technically doesn't make your oven hotter, it feels and acts hotter because it's circulating that hot air, and it'll help your pizza bake faster like it would in a pizza oven. All right, here we go. First pizza going in. Now my husband has a lot more practice with this than I do, and he's able to get that pizza to land perfectly on the pizza stone. I, on the other hand, do not possess that skill, so I will either make my pizza smaller to give me more wiggle room in the landing space, or you can use a pizza pan like we're going to show you for our second pizza, so stay tuned for that. About halfway through the baking time, you can turn your pizza around if you like for a nice even bake. We're baking this pizza for about 10 minutes total. Ah, look at that beautiful cheese pizza. Our crust is gorgeous and airy, and we've got a nice moderately crisp bottom crust, which is just how we like it. Now we could stop there, but we're going to give it just a couple finishing touches to put it over the top. First, a bit more fresh basil. And then to give our crust a mouth-watering sheen, we'll brush it with a bit of olive oil. How good does that look? This is my absolute favorite crust. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Just like it came from a Neapolitan pizzeria. You can hear that beautiful light crunch we've gotten. That sound makes my mouth water. And while this crust is lightly crisp on the outside, it's incredibly soft and fluffy on the inside. Perfection. All right, on to our second pizza of the night. So if you don't have a pizza stone, another great option is a pizza pan, specifically one like this with holes in it, which will deliver a crisper bottom crust. So we'll go through the same process to stretch our dough on a cutting board or pizza peel. But first, can we please take a moment to appreciate these magnificent air pockets? This is my absolute favorite part of pizza. Okay, on with the show. Now once our dough is stretched out, add a little extra flour semolina mixture to the top, because to transfer this, we're going to fold it up, and this way it won't stick to itself. Then we'll give our pizza pan a quick brush of olive oil to prevent sticking. Then 1, 2, 3, transfer the dough and unfold it, and voila, we're ready for our toppings. Adding the same amount of sauce, then some cheese. This time we're starting with our specialty cheese because it really doesn't matter which goes first. For this pizza, we're using a Point Reyes Toma cheese, which is super delicious. I highly recommend it if you've never tried it. Then some of our fresh basil. And on this pizza, we're also going to add some prosciutto because it's delicious. Of course, you can add pepperoni or whatever your favorite toppings are. Let us know what your favorite toppings combination is in the comments. Then we'll top it with our mozzarella cheese. Looking good, looking good. Okay, in you go. I just love how easy the transfer to the oven is with the pizza pan. That looks gorgeous. I love me some brown cheese. So the pizza stone is my personal top choice, but this is not a bad close second. Again, crust looks great, and another nice, lightly crisped undercarriage. And add whatever fresh toppings you want, maybe a little crushed red pepper, a brush of olive oil on the crust, and some fresh basil to top it off. Or add whatever you like, but all these small details really add up to create a fresh, amazing artisan pizza experience. And there you have it, another fantastic pizza right from the home oven. Alright, we've got to go eat, but I hope you found this video helpful, and if you enjoyed it, drop us a like or a comment, and of course subscribe to our channel for more of our family's favorite recipes. Happy pizza night everybody, and happy home cooking!